Hello and welcome to another Elites League cast. This time we've got a series from Division B. Before beginning the cast, Impregnable has announced that there's going to be a 1v1 tournament at the end of the month. If there's something you're interested in playing in or want to know a bit more, check out the link in the description. Tournament is going to be on the 30th of March, 5 PM UK time or UTC time. You need to change that for your own time zone. We're streaming the tournament on the day and uploading it here once complete. But onto the game itself, we have TheCrydd starting off on the left-hand side here as a Tech Marine. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, we do have oLev playing as a Hive Tyrant. Straight away, we're seeing a very aggressive build here from oLev. Just going for a pure mass melee here with triple homogons rolling around on the field. Map is going to be Leviathan Hive for the very first map. All maps in the group stages are picked at random. Players do need to essentially spin the wheel, and there is a link on the forums. Spin the wheel and the map is chosen at random. Unlike other tournaments where the loser would pick the map in later games, it's actually just random throughout the entire group stages. Players do have the opportunity of vetoing a map as well, and Leviathan Hive, not my personal favourite map just due to how large it is. We'll see how TheCrydd handles this mass melee here from oLev. Tech Marine does have access to Bionics as an upgrade in Tier 1. Bionics allowing you to knock back melee units as well as dealing damage to them. Does also increase your melee damage as well, which can be useful in the later stages when you can take up to Tier 2 and get the Power Axe. Scouts also having abilities with their Shotgun Blast if they choose to upgrade with that. Tactical Marines do have melee resistance as well, so they can stand up against Homogons a bit more, although you don't really want to be fighting Homogons in melee with your Tech Marine, with your Tactical Marines rather. We're going to see a bit of an engagement going down here. TheCrydd is very grouped up, so these initial set of Homogons taking a lot of damage trying to close the gap here. Does this buy some time for some other Homogons to get in without taking too much damage? Tech Marine trying to do what he can. We do hear the combat shotgun upgrade coming in for one of these scout squads here. The shotgun blast will be able to knock back and suppress the melee squads coming in, but the Hive Tyrant is going to be immune to knockback and also immune to suppression, so we'll see what these scouts can do. The other benefit of the combat shotguns is that the scouts do get increased damage as well, which can be quite useful, but Tactical Marine's going to get knocked over. There's going to be a couple of models going down here by the looks of it. One does fall on the backline, the Hive Tyrant is still trying to focus down that Tech Marine, and TheCrydd is going to be chased all the way into base. Second set of Homogons is going to bash pound, will be able to secure one generator at the very least. Shotgun Blast going to be knocking over the back Homogon squad here, and this squad is going to be forced to retreat in a second. You know, Homogons are just trying to get onto these scouts as much as possible and actually getting knocked across there. Scouts with their shotguns do gain melee skills, so they are going to be more immune to knockback. However, units on the move do lose out on melee skills, so are more likely to get specialed. And Hive Tyrant is going to come in here with another special once again. Just being incredibly annoying, a very tanky commander at 1050 HP. Another special there. Getting very lucky there, and straight away we do see the Bionics upgrade as well for the Tech Marine. With the Bionics and the Shotgun Blast, going to make it much more difficult for these Homogons to actually engage in melee combat. Shotgun Blast will be able to knock units away, and the Bionics will stop anything that tries to jump on the Tech Marine himself. Alternatively, you can try and force melee with the Tech Marine and use your Bionics to knock across those units. Raveners do hit the field as well. oLev potentially anticipating some Devastators out on the field. Raveners being able to burrow and knock back units at range. Going to be a nice counter should Devastators roll onto the field, but going to be forced away here. Going to be unable to fight these tacticals along with the Tech Marine himself. You know, Homogons don't actually have any upgrades yet on the Homogons. Typically you do see the Adrenal Glands upgrade on them, which does grant you an extra 10% HP and also some bonus damage, I believe. We do have a second set of Raveners out in the field for oLev. This could potentially be a mistake. Might have left them on Overwatch, or he might actually want double Raveners. It's going to be a very expensive Tier 1 though. Raveners do cost 40 power and 400 requisition, so quite expensive. These Raveners though quite low already. And only the one generator here for oLev. Meanwhile, we do actually have a full generator farm here for TheCrydd. Both players do have their other powers loaded as well for a small bonus income, and Tactical is just very deep here. Going to actually get a decap on this requisition point. Tactical Marines do have faster decapping compared to other units, similar to a Sentinel. So going to be quite annoying to get a decap on this fully matured requisition point. Now we do see oLev going to be applying some pressure here. One Ravener set is going to burrow, going to knock that Tech Marine forward, but these Raveners are incredibly low. Do need to be careful. Shotgun Blast does come in, and the squad is going to potentially lose another model. Nearly falling down altogether. The Bionics does do melee damage on knockback, so it can be quite effective against retreating units. You know, second set of Raveners, these scouts advancing a little bit too far forward. Without their Shotgun Blast are going to be vulnerable here. The Raveners are going to try and tear them down. We'll be able to get an additional model. And Homogon's just bashing power while the engagement is going on. Tactical Marines though on the back line still just going for decaps in this requisition, so definitely hurting oLev's economy throughout the process. These Homogons, not the fastest unit killing generators, but definitely decent. That power node is also going to go down, and a lot of map control is going to go towards oLev, especially in the center. Although these natural requisition points will need to be recaptured by these Homogons, and we do see the adrenal glands upgrade there. And the other ability allows them to charge in a bit further away, so it doesn't actually increase their melee damage, so I had that a bit wrong. One generator does get replenished, but that's going to be the third generator down in the game here for the Crid, so 300 requisition points there already been spent. Homogon's going to ignore these tacticals there and try and just back away. Could send them towards the top side to go and reclaim this requisition point, which is nearly fully matured. Requisition point will be fully matured once it hits plus 30 requisition per minute, I believe. Already, the Crid is tier 2, so we do actually have a Razorback coming out on the field. Razorback going to be very effective in this map due to the size of it. The Razorback does provide a massive amount of mobility, and with double scouts still on the field and a Tech Marine, there's plenty of repair opportunities for it, so it should be fairly well supported. oLev, he does have nearly enough resources to take up to tier 2, so he'll just need to try and dance around the Razorback as much as possible. Does have more units on the field, so he'll have to make use of that and try and take very long paths around and try and flank from behind, try and bash the generators and try and claim some of those requisition points, but units are loaded up inside this Razorback. You can also try and force melee on it if you have enough melee damage. You can potentially kill it, but tends to be very unlikely to do so. These Raveners though, losing 2 models is going to be quite expensive there for oLev. Homogons are going to go in, only to be met in the face there by the Bionics, and Homogons will be able to get surround on this Razorback, but oLev decides to do a mass retreat, and that is going to be the safer option. A 4th Ravener is going to go down here. Ravener squads losing 2 members each. Going to be a very expensive reinforcement cost there for oLev. And the Razorback, very effective against the army here of oLev, as all his army is infantry based, and the Razorback does do piercing damage. It's just going to be able to shred through the majority of that army, and do you actually see us going to get a decent amount of XP here, and one generator goes down, a second generator is likely to fall. We do have a generator over here as well, which I don't think the Crid has spotted or is aware of, but losing 2 generators is definitely going to hurt oLev's economy as he approaches into tier 2. Hive Tyrant is going to be very annoying here on this backside. Tech Marine can largely ignore him. The Bionics does provide some health regen as well, and do you see Homogons coming around for a flank, so oLev just going to try and gain some map control where possible, trying to avoid the Razorback as much as possible. Meanwhile, Tech Marine, not really much he can do against the Hive Tyrant by himself. It's just going to be forced to walk back to base and rely on the base turrets by the looks of things. Tech Marine having the highest range damage in the game with his default weapon definitely hurts quite a lot, doing about 33 damage per second. Homogons are going to be forced off, but not without getting a generator though. Power node looks like it was never finished off here for oLev, so you can easily rebuild the generators. If you kill the power node, it makes it more annoying because the other player will need to kill the power node before repurchasing their generators. So if you do lose generators and you are quite flush, you can easily rebuild them and get your power economy back on track. Razorback and Scouts going to do what they can against some Homogons here. Going to be forced to jump into this Razorback instead, and in fact they're not actually attacking whatsoever, so we'll need to switch targets there. These tacticals though are going to lose a model, in fact. Could potentially lose a second model. These Homogons are pretty good at chasing on retreats, but we'll back away before that does get finished up. And we do have a Dreadnought coming out for the Crid. Tech Marine definitely favouring vehicle play, given that you do have the global repair ability and some scouts on the field still. One scout squad did go down and actually ended up missing that, so I'm not too sure where their bodies are at the moment, but a Dreadnought definitely going to help out. It was the scouts with the shotgun upgrade. Venom Brood now hits the field as well. Hive Tyrant does also have the ability of equipping a Venom Cannon for some additional AV damage, and you might see just that with Dreadnought approaching the field. There's quite a lot of vehicle armor there for TheCrydd. This Razorback taking a lot of damage. We'll need to back away. It is so low already, down to just 30 HP, was one shot away from death. Venom do have a high amount of damage as well as decent range and being able to fire on the move as well, so quite scary. Tactical Marines though going to come in. Tactical Marines do have the Kraken round ability, making them very effective against heavy infantry type here, which is what the Venom Brood are. Can also equip plasma guns as well to try and pick off some of those models really effectively. Tech Marine also has the ability to equip a plasma rifle as well, but just going to be chased away by some Homgons. Could even see a melee variant Tech Marine as well. Tech Marine does have the ability to equip that Power Axe, which does drain energy on hit. Probably really need to drain energy on any of these units on hit. And Hive Tyrant does equip that Venom Cannon. These Tactical Marines are going to be unable to support this Dreadnought fully, and Raveners are going to come in and knock them over. The Venom Brood on the back line, they're getting knocked over slightly, but that Dreadnought is already down below half HP. Tactical Marines are going to lose two models. They will retreat away just in time, but Venom Cannons with the ability to fire on the move. This Dreadnought may be in a bit of trouble here. Tech Marine still has access to the global repair ability, so we might see that come into use here. Razorback is going to try and provide some support to it. Down to 130 HP, Tech Marine is going to come in now, and its solo will actually fall. Tech Marine there opting to not use the blessings of the Omnizai Global there, and it will cost them that Dreadnought. Tech Marine though, by himself, 346 VPs, 253. TheCrydd does have the VP advantage, but oLev definitely winning the engagements there. Do have some ASM being purchased as well now. Some ASMs should do okay, but are going to struggle against these triple Homogons. If triple Homogons are in the fight, it's going to be very difficult for them to do too much. While the Sergeant does have the ability to use the Merciless Strike, which is very good at dealing damage in an area, it's still going to be a bit of a difficult fight for them to win. Razorback trying to do what he can, trying to remain in the fight as long as possible. Does have Tech Marine and some scouts for some repair support, but it's getting very low. Will actually fall to the Venom Brood, getting stuck there on the Tech Marine, trying to reverse out there. TheCrydd down two vehicles. Things are looking quite grim now. Going to be a triple cap against him. Some ASMs that do jump in, and he's going to force oLev into a retreat. The Sergeant appearing mid-jump there, so you see him just jumping on the spot. TheCrydd is going to rebuild his power node. Doesn't have quite enough now for another Dreadnought. oLev with plenty of power in the bank, but lacking in requisition. A Tyrant Guard for him could be fairly brutal. Meanwhile, these triple Homogons just going around the map. We also have some Rippers approaching the field as well. Rippers can tie up ranged units quite easily. Not very effective against melee units, however. Going to end up fighting some ASMs, how the squad is going to just go down altogether. Rippers are free as of the most recent patch now, so you can spam them quite easily. However, they do cost population, so you don't always want to bulk out your army with just Rippers, as you'll be unable to make any other units. We do actually have still those two Ripper squads there, and oLev is going to group up massively here. These Rippers and Homogons going to come around for a bit of a flank. Meanwhile, TheCrydd doesn't have too much to answer the masses of Homogons in the field. The ASMs and Tech Marine will be able to fight them, but it's going to still struggle to win the engagement overall. The size of army is very different for both players. These Homogons and Rippers are going to get spotted here. The ASMs looking like they want to fight. They are level 1 though, in comparison to the Homogons, which are level 2 and level 1, or coming close to level 2. Tech Marine is really going to be forced out of the engagements. These Tactical Marines and ASM are really going to be unable to stay into the fight much longer. I do see the Merciless Strike go down, anticipating that the Homogons were going to jump in there, so they're actually going to miss, and that's going to be on cooldown for a little bit. ASMs do have enough energy to jump in. They will actually jump in. This might be a bit too aggressive though. Homogons are going to get the surround on the ASM straight away. Raveners going to be jumping onto the backline. ASMs are going to be left on their own devices there. Raveners tie up these Tactical Marines. But Homogons are actually coming forward here. ASMs are allowed to chase, but we even see a Wargear swap here for the Hive Tyrant, going for the Crushing Claw as opposed to the Venom Cannon. and Homogons are just surrounding these ASM on retreat. The ASM not having enough energy to jump out to combat. Are going to be forced off, but are going to survive though with all 4 models alive. Generator farm is going to fall here for the TheCrydd. All 3 generators should fall. The size of the army here is going to be a bit too much. Raveners are going to pull back. They're not wanting to fight. The tactical marines are behind that green cover. That Hive Tyrant is going to sit there and get a decap. Don't have any further wargear upgrades here for the Hive Tyrant, with the exception of that ranged weapon change for the Crushing Claw. Tech Marine going to try and do what he can to try and pick away some models. Level 3 Tech Marine has been quite busy, and so is this Hive Tyrant, who is also at level 3.
Scouts ready to earn our place.
ASM is going to come back in once again. They do need to be careful. That Hive Tyrant with the Crushing Claw can easily pick away models. Hive Tyrant also immune to knockback. Is just going to get straight into business here. He's going to start tearing away at that one model. Merciless Strike is going to go down. Will catch out the entire Homogon squad, but again, the Hive Tyrant is going to be immune to that. That Crushing Claw is going to devastate the squad. The squad may even just go down here. Hive Tyrant with those Homogons is going to finish it off, and the TheCrydd is going to be down an ASM squad. Does actually have a second ASM squad already on the field, ready to go. A Sergeant's been repurchased, but I feel that the squad is still going to struggle to make much of an impact. That Tech Marine is getting stuck there. The pathing going a bit weird as he's trying to just walk out the area. One Ripper squad in that is going to go down, but the double Homogons are still fighting these ASM. They do have enough energy for a Merciless Strike, but it's not been used as of yet. And Hive Tyrant on the retreat path is going to be quite annoying. Sergeant falls already for the ASM squad, going to be the first model down. Hive Tyrant should be able to pick off another model here on retreat. Squad may potentially go down. It's actually, you can see, barely scrape on by. 40 HP and 2 models. The TheCrydd definitely needing as much help as possible. It's still a triple cap against him. He's bled from 350 VPs down to 110 now. And it still is a triple cap against him by the time he does get a decap onto the VPs that exist on the field. It's going to be down to just 80 VPs. oLev now taking up to tier 3, meanwhile the TheCrydd still stuck very much in tier 2. Could potentially try and save up for another Dreadnought, but Dreadnought is still going to struggle, especially Crushing Claw dealing heavy melee damage, making it effective against vehicles, and with this Venom Brood still alive. Scouts may potentially go down here, should be okay, but the burst damage from the Raveners is incredible. Bringing them down to just 35 HP. Raveners just going to apply some more pressure here. As long as oLev can stick with this 2-0 cap or 2-1 cap, the game is going to end up his. ASMs are going to try and do what they can, but against 2 Homogon squads with Raveners also in the mix, it's going to be a bit too much for them. The squad may in fact go down. The Homogons are trying to charge in, trying to get the ASM squad, but will not pursue any further. Now just down to the 1 model. We even have some Rippers and Homogons to defend the natural VP here of oLev. And things are looking a bit grim. oLev is going to be tier 3 and is going to have enough resources for a Carnifex, potentially a Swarm Lord should he chooses. Although he does actually lack the population cap for it. These Rippers are going to have to go down, or one of the Homogon squads is going to have to fall if he actually wants to purchase a super tier 3 unit. But the TheCrydd does actually concede, does call GG, and will be stepping into Game 2 in just a moment. Now starting into game number 2, TheCrydd going to be starting off on the top side as a Warp Spider Exarch. He does have multiple heroes picked. Every person does need to pick 5 heroes, and he's currently got the Chaos Sorcerer, Warp Spider Exarch, Warlock, Inquisitor, and Tech Marine. As he's already played the Tech Marine, he is having to change heroes in this game, and we will see the Warp Spider. oLev, on the other hand, is going to be picking the Lord Commissar. For his commander choices, he has got the Hive Tyrant, Ravener Alpha, Chaos Lord, Lord Commissar, and Plague Champion. Going to be a triple Dire Avenger build here for the TheCrydd. Going to help against the Imperial Guard. Banshee's not really working out too well in this matchup, given that most commanders are pretty well equipped to deal with melee units, along with the Sentinel Stomp ability, which can really shut down a Banshee squad. Even if you try and fleet past it, it's very easy for the Sentinel to actually land that stomp on your unit. So typically seen triple Dire Avenger builds here, and also helps apply more pressure on the Sentinel, as Banshees will struggle. Dire Avengers though, trying to get some shots in where possible. You can see the Sentinel straight away just going straight into enemy territory, going to be running over as much green cover as possible. denying green cover to your opponent makes it much easier for your guardsmen to try and focus the squads down. Lord Commissar is going to try and chase down that Wall Spider, does have enough NG to jump away, and Sentinel already picking down one model, is looking like it was going to get close to picking down a second model. And with Lord Commissar just chasing around, it's going to be incredibly annoying. The Lord Commissar does do the highest range damage of all melee commanders. His sidearm, I believe it does around 25 DPS or 22 DPS, it's quite a lot. Making him very effective just picking away models there. He's going to be able to get 3 models in total by the looks of it before TheCrydd is forced away. But the squads want to tell me how many models. Yeah. 2 models in one squad did go down and 1 on the other as well. And it's actually going to be a very aggressive multi-last turret. The multi-last turret does cost red, so you can't place it down straight away. You do have to have a bit of a fight and do have to either lose some models or kill some models in order to place one down. But straight away onto the power is going to be incredibly annoying. It does have short range, but does do quite a lot of damage. Dire Avenger is going to start focusing down these guardsmen to deny the multi-last and the Sentinel any sort of repairs. You have Lord Commissar coming in for a bit of assistance, and he's still fairly healthy, but it's going to be very close outside the Eldar's base, so we need to be careful. These guardsmen are incredibly low though, 83 HP, trying to keep them to fight as long as possible. They will be forced off at the last second, but at the same time these Dire Avengers are also forced away. Dire Avengers are on the back line just capping as much as possible. We have the second guardsman squad making their way back out of base once again. And Lord Commissar is just going to remain next to that multi-last turret for now, just to provide some support to it. The Dire Avengers can try and run past it. It's got such a wide arc of fire, it's going to be very difficult to try and bypass. Sentinel does not have the stomp upgrade, so it does need to be a bit careful trying to go in there. Grenades are going to kill that multi-last turret. We do have the stomp upgrade coming in now. Stomp upgrade does also provide an additional 100 HP as well. Well, in fact, it doesn't actually provide 100 HP, that must have been a change from when I used to play the game. Ground Pound is going to get used here onto the retreating Dire Avengers. It is not going to kill a model, and the Sentinel is so low. If the Wall Spider has enough NG to teleport, you might be able to kill it. It does need 30 NG to teleport, but it's a bit too far away now to actually try and do so. Repairs are going to come in onto the Sentinel. Both guardsmen are going to repair at the same time, and Wall Spider is actually going to try and flank in from behind here while the Dire Avengers try and push in the front line, but the Commissar is going to come in from behind. That Sentinel is so low, it's going to get focused down hard and will fall. That's a big loss there for oLev. We do have a third guardsman squad on the field as well for him though, so his army is still fairly sized. But without the Sentinel does mean that he won't be able to apply as much map pressure as he previously did. Lord Commissar though just going to chase down these Dire Avengers as far as possible. Does kill an additional model with the last pistol. Is going to actually get another model here from the squad and maybe be able to get a third model. Trying to poke him down with his sword as much as possible. That last pistol really does hurt. Now going to switch targets before retreating away at the last second. 500 BPs to 262. TheCrydd able to gain a massive VP advantage just due to having those Dire Avengers on the backside, just capping up VPs and being in control of this right-hand VP for the entire of the game. Webway Gate is going down, but it looks like the guardsmen don't actually notice it going down, and now that it's built, it's now hidden. Can reveal hidden items by moving into point-blank range or using the detector. But Dire Avengers are going to exit it. Some grenades do go down, but are going to be avoided as the guardsmen did retreat as they were in their mid-throw animation. There's one guardsman squad though for oLev. No sergeant leading them at the moment. Looks like oLev's going to try and just take out 2 tier 2 before finishing off that squad. Does have enough resources to do so. TheCrydd is not too far behind, only 20 power behind. However, oLev with some additional power going into tier 2 should be able to get a Chimera out fairly quickly. A Manticore can also be quite useful on this map given how small it is. Manticore should be able to reach most places all the way from base with the exception of your opponent's base. But given there are triple guardsmen on the field, Lord Commissar can see some upgrades for him, potentially the stubbornness upgrade, which does allow him to regenerate health based on the amount of guardsmen in the area. A grenade is going to get thrown to these guardsmen, they will avoid it, one model walking right on top of it though, but overall will escape. We did see the execution getting used onto this one guardsman squad here to try and increase their damage by 100%. Always need to be careful when executing your guardsmen though, as they can't retreat when they are executed. Guardsmen are going to be able to barely scrape on out there with 60 HP, although they did have 4 models, so they should be able to regen it back at base. The oLev, we should see some upgrades on Lord Commissar coming in into tier 2. Potentially a Chimera as well, and the Commissar upgrades for the Guardsmen bring them up to 12 models in total. War Spider actually going to go for the VP there. I think he could have finished off this Guardsman model. He's down to just 20 HP. Wiping the Guardsman squad would have been quite useful. Even if they didn't have the Sergeant, wiping any squad is always really useful. It's going to be the Chimera coming in first for oLev. Does not have the requisition at the moment to afford any upgrades whatsoever. And we don't have any Commissar upgrades in process at the moment. Dire Avengers are just going to be poking away at this generator. They should be able to get this one though. These Dire Avengers are solo. They should lose a model, but the Guardsmen are going to actually ignore them, going off to the other side.
The enemy has 200 points remaining.
Still no upgrades though for these Guardsmen at the moment. We do have the Sergeant upgrade coming in for that third squad. However, some upgrades on the Lord Commissar would be quite useful. TheCrydd also tier 2 as well. It does have enough resources for a Falcon, so likely to see one of those come out, or potentially a Wraith Lord even. It is going to be that Falcon choice. The Falcon with triple Dire Avengers, very easy to keep it supported and alive, because you have the triple repair ability from having 3 repair squads. Falcon also going to be very annoying against this Chimera. It does do some damage to vehicles, not much, but enough to definitely force it off. Guardsman can out-repair the damage dealt to it, however, it means having to focus on repairing rather than just allowing the Chimera to do its thing. Dire Avengers definitely trying to finish off the cap there. They are going to try and throw a grenade, but the model that is throwing the grenade does die, so it does prevent squad from actually being able to throw that before retreating away. But we should see a power bash come in here from oLev until he sees the Falcon and decides to back away. The heavy weapons team should be oLev's next port of call. Heavy weapons team with an auto cannon upgrade, when executed, will just destroy vehicles, or even better with a last cannon, as you can just two-shot Falcon. Falcon going to start poking away at some Guardsmen. We have one Commissar upgrade here. Commissar himself does do an incredible amount of damage, both in ranged and melee. It's always worth keeping. You can also break retreats with the Commissar. If you retreat away, the Commissar within the squad can actually execute one of the Guardsmen to prevent retreats. You don't want to do it when you're on 2 models, as it will execute the Sergeant in order to break retreats. Grenades are going to get thrown down all on the same spot there. The Guardsmen are going to avoid it, except for those 2 that did get caught out. And this Chimera is taking quite a lot of damage. It's actually driving forward, does need to be careful. They've taken a bit too much damage there. We do see the flare going to go down and some mines going to get dropped here. There are no detectors on the field. But this Chimera is so low at the moment, and as it's trying to back away, it's not able to receive any repairs. It is going to go down here. Guardsmen do vacate it. We actually have one Guardsman squad go down there. Didn't actually see when they died. Looks like they might have died trying to enter the vehicle. And there's actually going to be some Wraith Guard approaching the field as well. Wraith Guard doing incredible AoE damage, but are very slow to fire, very slow to move. Dwarf Spider Exarch being the one Eldar commander that can't improve their movement speed, so you are forced in order to get the Warlock upgrade to provide the squad with additional movement speed. 477 VPs to 82. TheCrydd, it looks like he's got this game in the bag. Ogrins are going to be the next choice here for oLev. Ogrins should do pretty well against the units on the field. Wraithguard are incredibly ineffective against melee units due to how slow their firing rate is. With Wraithguard, you do have to force target the ground in order to try and make your shots hit. Any unit that is on the move is going to be very difficult for you to hit. You're likely going to miss if you let the AI kind of handle that for you. So you tend to see players force focus the ground where they predict an enemy is going to go. Dire Avengers with their piercing damage only going to be unaffected against these Ogrins, which do have super heavy infantry. Falcon though should do pretty well against them, but the Falcon is going to spend most of its time just running away though. Do have some Wargear upgrades though. For the Commissar, do actually have the Flak Jacket upgrade, or the Carapace Armor, sorry, not the Flak Jacket. Does improve his health and health regen, makes him very tanky. Always a nice Wargear to have. There's a tier 1 Wargear. With Ogrins, you sometimes see the Bionic Eye upgrade getting used, as it does improve their movement speed when executed, and also heals the squad back up to full health. Falcon though just going to be incredibly annoying. Going to be poking away at some Guardsmen, not the quickest at killing guardsmen, but definitely effective at killing them. Is already at level 2, so does gain some extra health. Spider though is going to counter these Ogrins with the entangling web. Does allow you to lock a squad down in place, as you can see here. With the squad locked down in place, Dire Avengers can throw grenades onto the Ogrins, either forcing them into a retreat or forcing them to tank an incredible amount of damage to remain in the fight. Lord Commissar trying to do what he can. Commissar does have the ability to equip the Xenos Power Claw in tier 2, which does allow him to do heavy melee damage. Do have an execution game used here onto one of the Ogrin models to try and break their retreat. They are going to try and chase after this Falcon. That Commissar is incredibly low and will be forced away. Ogrin is going to use their charge here to try and get in, and they will actually get this Falcon by the looks of it. The Falcon is unsupported, has no Dire Avengers, and does do a turnaround. Ogrins are going to try and get some rear armor hits, but the Hawk Spider should have the entangling web up soon. However, is it going to come up in time? The Falcon has stopped moving, and the Ogrins are going to get the shots that they need against that. Will hit it in the rear there. Heavy melee being incredibly effective against such a light vehicle. The Falcon going down is a big loss there for the Crid. Hawk Spider is going to try and fight these Ogrins in melee combat, and is going to get knocked over before he can teleport away. The Crid is actually going to lose that. 452 VPs to 64. oLev is hanging in strongly in this game. Ogrin's going to go for a decap here. However, Dire Avengers once again on the backside going to go for that natural VP. There are no generators on the field for oLev, and the Commissar was forced to be repurchased. Graveguard are going to go for this generator. Two of the models are too close to fire. They do have a minimum fire range, so it's going to take them slightly longer to tear that down. But nice multi-blast turret here from oLev to try and keep this VP in check. Just means the Dire Avengers are going to have to take a much longer route around and kill the multi-blast turret. Although these Wraithguard can just walk up and kill it with a single salvo. They're very effective against buildings, vehicles, and pretty much anything. The flare will get placed down to buy this multi-blast a bit of extra time. And on the other side of the map, we do actually have a Dire Avenger squad going down to these Ogrins. Entangling web comes in and will lock them in place, but Guarded Weapons team might not be able to deal enough damage in time. These Ogrins are just so tanky. Multi-blast turret does fall in the end. Wraithguard are forced into a retreat, but are still fairly healthy. You shouldn't lose any models, and do have a lot of movement speed thanks to the Warlock upgrade. If you are playing as a Warlock or Farseer as your commander, you don't actually need the Warlock upgrade unless you're sending the squad off by itself. The Warlock and the Farseer do have the Farsight passive, which does grant the Wraithguard the same movement speed that they would get from the Warlock upgrade. Hawk Spider being the only Eldar commander to not do so. To actually have the Power Sword upgrade coming in for oLev. Typically you don't see the Power Sword upgrade as often against Eldar. However, it will be very effective against these Wraithguard, which are heavy infantry. Mines are going to get placed down on the field here. Some Guardsmen trying to make use of this Eldar shield. It will back away, and these Dire Avengers are going to caught out their kind of mines, wondering why the first set of mines didn't detonate, but it does take a little bit of time for them to settle. And that one mine already doing a lot of damage to the squad with the Guardsmen poking them down. Wraithguard are going to miss their opening salvo. Crack shot getting used onto the Wraithguard to increase their ranged attack damage. You know, Hawk Spider trying to do what he can, but by himself is going to be unsuccessful trying to fight these Ogrins. And these mines doing a lot of work here. Dire Avengers, if they are forced into a retreat, are going to retreat over a mine and might actually go down. In fact, actually their retreat path is going to avoid the mines altogether. The mines were placed at a slightly different angle, could have potentially wiped the squad. The upper Dire Avenger squad is going to walk into the mines and will clear it, but look at that damage though, coming in from these Wraithguard. Forces the Guardsmen into a retreat there with a single salvo. Ogrins are just flying in here. We do actually have the Bionic Eye upgrade coming in now, and with the Bionic Eye upgrade you do avoid suppression, you do gain a massive amount of movement speed, and the squad is healed back up to full health, so Ogrins do turn into an incredibly scary force when executed with that. It's quite expensive to try and keep it up, but you can land squad wipes like that each time. It is definitely worth it. A second set of Ogrins is actually going to be oLev's next choice. We do have a Fire Prism coming out for the Crid. Yeah, he's going to get thrown down at the feet of these Dire Avengers, but the Ogrins are going to avoid it. And Dire Avengers are going to be forced to retreat, but we'll lose a model or two here. So they didn't retreat away just in time. Ogren's going to try and chase back as much as possible. Viper's going to be a nice choice here to keep the Ogrens knocked over constantly. Another grenade is going to get thrown, but is going to be largely avoided by these Ogrens. Also need to be careful of hitting your own units with the Fire Prism when the Ogrens get a bit too close. The Warp Spider is going to go down once again. The Warp Spider really needs to be kept alive. The Entangling Web is so useful in this particular game. And trying to lock these Ogrens down. If you lock the Ogren squad down, throw 2 grenades at them, there's not much that they can do against that other than retreat away. The Commissar Lord is going to chase down these Wraithguard. Does have some Ogren support with him, so these Wraithguard should retreat away. And will retreat away in time. Ogren's just going to try and capture. Meanwhile, Tower Avengers still in capping duties. Spent most of their game just going around the map and capping. Guardsmen are going to take shelter here behind this green cover. We need to be careful. Grenade should be ready pretty soon for these Dire Avengers. As long as oLev is paying attention to the squad, should be okay. You know, Commissar is going to be chasing away at some Guardsmen here. The Fire Prism going to try and do what it can. Could see a Seer Council pop onto the field as well to try and fight these Ogrens in melee combat for when the Entangling Web is on cooldown. Guardsmen have seen those Wraithguards trace into a retreat there. Commissar Lord himself is incredibly low. He's actually going to go down here. The Warp Spiders should be able to finish him off. He's down to 47 HP. He's going to force melee on him. 7 HP. Is going to die to the Fire Prism in the end. We do actually have some Stormtroopers on the field there. Are going to go for the Assault Kit upgrade. Thought that they might have opted for the Melter Gun upgrade instead to try and sneakily kill this Fire Prism as there's no detection on the map, but it's going to rely on the Ogrens to do that instead, by the looks of it. Warp Spider is going to fall once again. No, actually is able to escape away there, but the Stormtroopers are able to finish off. The Assault Kit coming in very handy there to finish off that Commander. Meanwhile, Fire Prism is just going to go around the map and just kite as much as possible. This one Dire Avenger model feeling incredibly brave is actually going to abandon his squad in base to try and fight the Ogrens, but will be forced into retreat. Ogrens on the right hand side going to try and chase down these Wraithguard here, running over his own Guardsmen. Going to be unsuccessful in capturing a model there. We do actually have another Guardian Weapons team coming out. The first one didn't do so well. I don't think a Guardian Weapons team is going to help out too much here. Although with the Commissar dead, if the Commissar does not get repurchased, they should be able to tie up the Ogrens, but if the Commissar is going to get repurchased, the Bionic Eye execution will allow them to break retreat. Allow them to break suppression rather, and we'll be able to wipe the Guardian Weapons team as we saw earlier. Stormtroopers are also out on the field as well, so we need to be careful of some grenades. There are no detectors on the map there for the TheCrydd, so we need to be careful of some grenades getting thrown here by oLev. Going to be a second set of Stormtroopers on the field. This time we actually do have the Melter Gun upgrade coming in for them. Doesn't allow them to throw a Melter Bomb to slow down the vehicle, and with their damage they should be able to kill the Fire Prism if they are able to get close enough with lack of detection on the field. That Fire Prism should go down. 213 VPs, 35. oLev has done a great job in this game to try and hold on after being down by so many VPs. You know, Ogrens are just still going around the map chasing the 2 Ogrens. Not really much to actually kill them or force them off completely. Does need the Warp Spider alive as much as possible just to try and throw some grenades and try and get a grenade wipe against them. These Stormtroopers were picked up by the Wraithguard, so Fire Prism is just going to sit in base. Stormtroopers going to be unable to approach that, really. Dire Avengers getting caught out by the Ogrens there, and the Guardsmen are going to try and go in for the capture here. Stormtroopers going to try and do what they can. They are able to throw a grenade onto the Fire Prism. The Fire Prism actually leaves base a bit too early there. It's not going to get the shot it needs in time. Oh, it's going to get tied up, but a little bit too late. It's actually going to go down. Stormtroopers only having just enough energy to throw that Melter Bomb. Does cost 60 energy, so you do need to be careful with when you infiltrate. Ogrens are just going to brute force the capture here. oLev is down to just 17 VPs, so it's getting a bit desperate. Has got units on every VP on the map, so he's going to try and brute force his way on each one. Ogrens doing a great job picking up a Wraithguard model. Stormtroopers are going to go in for the cap here while the Ogrins type the Dire Avengers. Meanwhile, on top side of the map, the Ogrins were forced off in the end. Stormtroopers are going to throw a grenade down. It should... Model was a bit too far away there. We'll take down one model. Ogrins do lose 2 models there, some grenades from these Dire Avengers. Stormtroopers are able to neutralize the VP, but aren't able to actually capture it. Will die trying to do so if they're not careful. Now, upside map, these Assault Kit Stormtroopers should be able to secure the VP now, but they forced off the units. Stormtroopers with the melter gun upgrade are going to be forced off in the end, unable to fight these Dire Avengers. And this Guardsman is so low. It looks like the Commissar for the squad has already died. The Warp Spider might be able to finish it off, doing a decent amount of range damage, but doesn't actually target the Guardsman. It's going to target the wrong unit in the end. TheCrydd is going to let oLev's level 4 Guardsman squad escape there with a slither of health. It's actually going to be another Stormtrooper squad for oLev. oLev, even though he's been lacking a generator farm for the majority of the game, because he's just been buying nothing but requisition-based units, has actually got 300 power stored up. TheCrydd with 440 power stored up. The game has just progressed for that long. It's going to be a Warp Spider call-in right on top of a mine, going to get knocked over immediately upon call-in. Warp Spider should provide some decent mobility here, but with Assault Kit Stormtroopers on the field and with a second one coming out of base, Warp Spiders are going to struggle. The Assault Kit's high burst damage, if the Warp Spiders are caught out without any green cover whatsoever, they will lose models and will bleed quite heavily. Nice use of the Entangling Web is going to lock these Ogrins in place. The Guided Weapons team is free to fire. The Wraith Guard are a little bit too far away, do need to react in time, but Ogrins are going to be forced into retreat before. And these Warp Spiders are already bleeding 3 models there. These Assault Kit Stormtroopers are excellent against Warp Spiders. Essentially, if one squad can catch out the other without any green cover whatsoever, that squad is going to definitely take down a few models at the very least. Meanwhile, TheCrydd is just going to be chased away into base, 167 DPs to 17. oLev is just hanging on by a thread. He's actually going to go for a power patch this late in the game, but it really matters. TheCrydd has so much power saved up, and oLev himself has got so much power saved up that it's not actually beneficial to go for these generators this late in the game. Requisition should be the focus for both players, along with VPs especially. Units are going to enter the webway gate here. Looks like this is the only webway gate on the field, so Ogrins are already on top of the units here. I'm not sure if this was the best place to leave base. We do see units re-entering the gate there. Are going to be forced to vacate from base instead. Meanwhile, some more Dire Avengers here. Do need to be careful. Grenade is going to get thrown down. Counter grenade does get thrown as well. That squad going down with it's quite low health. We'll be able to escape overall though. There is a mine on retreat. The mine might actually be able to finish the squad off if they choose the wrong path. We'll be able to just about avoid that though. A lot of focus going down on this left hand side due to the fact that it has got 2 VPs as opposed to the one on the right hand side. These Warp Spiders taking a lot of damage here from these Assault Kit Stormtroopers. Again, just very high burst damage, and Warp Spiders being as fragile as they are, you need to be careful when getting caught out of cover against these Stormtroopers. Warp Spider trying to do what he can in melee combat. No armor upgrade on him yet, but he is doing an incredible amount of range damage. Does have the advanced targeters, as well as the Entangling Web, doing about 50 damage per second by himself. Stormtrooper is going to infiltrate, but a grenade does get thrown down. He's going to catch out a few models there, getting quite low. The other Stormtrooper squad is incredibly low. No upgrade on them at the moment. Should get the Assault Kit upgrade though, just to provide them with that extra range. The Guarded Weapons team is going to be left untouched there. Will force those Ogrins. This one Stormtrooper squad down to 50 HP, but the Dire Avengers might not have enough range damage. They are targeting the squad in the distance instead. We'll be able to just barely escape there. 100 VPs, 274 players are getting desperate to try and capture the VPs. Ogrins are going to remain in control of that one, and Eldritch Storm is actually going to go down against these Ogrins. We do see the charge gate used there. Eldritch going to be unsuccessful in wiping the Ogrin squad, but will force a retreat there, leaving the VP neutral, keeping it to a 1-to-1 cap. TheCrydd still tier 3, oLev still tier 2. oLev does have enough resources to potentially buy another squad. 74 pop cap, 262. Energy shield getting used this late in the game, going to be effective against these guardsmen. Meanwhile, Ogrins are going to get tied up there by the Warp Spider Exarch. You see Crackshot getting used on the Warp Spider squad, but even then they're not the best equipped to deal with these Ogrins. The Ogrins are just so good against units with piercing damage, and they are able to get on top of the Warp Spider squad, able to take down 2 models, may get some more. In fact, they are able to wipe all models, with the exception of the Exarch himself, which will be able to get away. Meanwhile, Guardsmen trying to fight these Wraithguard in melee combat. The Wraithguard squad does have the Warlock leading them, so it does actually have some decent melee damage. It's actually going to beat the Guardsman squad there, not something that you really expect in the game. Dire Avengers are going to try and fight the Commissars, 87 VPs to 15. GG has been called by oLev. And it looks like oLev realizes that he can't actually keep in control of VPs potentially. oLev is still slowly bleeding down, but oLev is going to get a double cap here in a second, so might be able to barely hang on though, but I'm not sure if either cap can come in time. In fact, the VPs are ticking down. The cap is not going to occur in time. And TheCrydd is going to win game number 2. That does mean we're going to go to game 3 in this series. Stay tuned. Into the third and final game of this series. It is a best of 3 series, so game 3 winner is going to take it all in this game. TheCrydd going to be swapping into a Chaos Sorcerer for this match, and oLev going to be going back to Tyranids. Did work out well for him in game number 1. We'll see how it works for him in game number 3. Going to be going for a double Homogons this game, not going to be committing to a full melee build like we saw in game number 1. We'll be getting some Termagants. Potentially a second set of Termagants should come out as well to join with the first one. Provide some additional range damage, but likely to see some Raveners or Warriors get purchased instead. Meanwhile for TheCrydd, we just see double Heretics on the field. Some Spawn Mines are going to get purchased. Don't see it in all matchups, but against Heretics very effective, and especially as the Sorcerer doesn't really do much range damage at all. Even with his bolt pistol having such short range and such little damage, not really worth trying to kill Spawn Mines. So I do see TheCrydd groups up fairly heavily here with his double Heretics and CSM. The Ravener going to take a bit more of a defensive position. Ravener dealing decent range damage. Does have a host of upgrades as well to improve that range damage, or also make him more effective in melee combat should he desire. Meanwhile, the Homogons and Termagants are going to group up on his left-hand side. oLev should win this engagement here. TheCrydd has got his Sorcerer on the right-hand side, just capping up at the moment, so going to be on his own, uncontested. So oLev will need to apply some pressure here, already denying the cap on the requisition point. It could go for the second requisition point, or could even try and go in for a very early Generator Bash. One has been placed down already by TheCrydd, so it can hurt Chaos quite early on. Termagant's going to be upgraded already there with the Toxic Sacs upgrade. Does grant them the ability Crippling Poison, does allow them to lock a squad down in place, does slow them by about 99%, so they pretty much don't move whatsoever. Meanwhile, I do see an Aspiring Champion going to lead one of these Heretic squads. Definitely worth slowing down there with these upgraded Termagants, and straight away seeing it get used, going to leave them vulnerable to fire here. The Homogons are getting ready to try and jump in, but Spawn Mines going to deny that even further while the Homogons tear down the power. Sorcerer is still uncontested on that other side. It's just going to cap up as much as possible. Going to see the Grenade Launch upgrade for these Heretics. Grenade Blast is going to get used. Going to knock over these Homogons, but not really much to follow that up. Spawn Mines are going to be vulnerable to these grenades as they can fire over terrain. Although if they don't get caught out by the cliff here. Ravener going to be a little bit exposed here. Going to be by himself. Does try and fall back towards these Termagants, and Spawn Mines able to get on top of this Grenade Launcher Heretic squad. It's going to not chase him into base there, could have potentially tried to chase him a bit further. Instead will fall back to this melee Heretic squad, and then will be used there to poison the squad and deal some decent damage to them, and allows the double Homogons here to get on top of the CSM squad. Bound to lose a model or two here. Second model is not going to fall here, in fact. One generator has already been torn down. That new one that has just been started to build now should go down as well. Don't think TheCrydd can get out of base in time. Meanwhile, the Chaos Sorcerer is just still capping up behind all of this while it's going on. Second Grenade Barrage is going to go down. Spawn Mines will fall to some stray grenades here. Or should fall to some stray grenades here. CSM should be able to finish it off as well. And that squad is not going to be able to get another explosion. Heretics are going to be able to run rampant here with that Aspiring Champion, should demolish these Homogons in melee combat. Squads are going to be forced away. The squad will be able to get away there with 30 HP, getting a little bit low there for oLev, but overall going to survive. But the Chaos Sorcerer on retreat. BbBoS is going to get used, but not the most effective at retreat, killing the Homogon squad is going to live overall. Meanwhile, we still actually have the other Homogon squads going to go for the second generator here that's been placed by TheCrydd. Unable to get that first generator farm fully up and running, actually places a generator here on this contested power. Homogons are going to try and stay in the fight as much as possible. Heretics actually going in for the repair as opposed to going in for the kill. The repair is not going to be enough. The Homogons will be forced away, but that's going to be 4 generators down, I believe, in total there for TheCrydd. So oLev with a big advantage. That's 400 requisition worth of gens. That's an entire CSM squad worth of damage dealt to TheCrydd. More tunnels again to get placed down. The original tunnel is still up, ready to defend that generator farm where possible. Does also have this additional tunnel entrance at the VP to try and defend that. TheCrydd is going to come in. Looks like he might want to get a counter bash on the go here. Chaos Sorcerer lacking the energy for some Doom Bolts at the moment. Going to desperately try and go for these Termagants, getting knocked over by the Warriors. Chaos Sorcerer can be a little bit weak in melee combat. Does rely on getting those specials. Meanwhile, Heretics are going to miss their Doom Blast there. One CSM model will go down, and Chaos Sorcerer is going to be largely ignored. Is actually just going to resume capping by the looks of things. Grenade Launcher Heretics going to get forced off there against a Ravener. Grenade Launcher Heretics not the most effective against single unit squads or commanders, or even stuff like Tactical Marines and stuff can be a bit difficult for them to be fully effective against them. Generally things with a lot of models or a lot of easy to kill models is where the Heretics with grenade launchers do shine. Going to be tier 2 here for TheCrydd. He actually cancels that though. Not sure if he wants to go for something else in tier 1. He's actually going to get a Havoc squad out instead, and tier 2 for oLev. Havoc squad should prove quite useful. There are no Raveners on the field, but we'll see how that goes. An early Blood Crush could have also been really effective as well. However, that would have meant a bit of extra time waiting around. TheCrydd fearing another attack from oLev, going to get these Havocs out beforehand. It's actually taking a very defensive position here with Heretics and CSM, not really advancing too far out onto the map there. A bit concerned that these Homogons may come in for a flank by the looks of it. Havoc's actually going to take a very defensive position there. He's actually going to move him forward a bit now though. And a lot of map control belongs to oLev right now. Ravener Alpha with his tunnels does allow very quick reinforcements. If a unit does retreat back space, can get him out in the field if the tunnel is not destroyed or not contested. Meanwhile, oLev just going to get set up on this right hand side here. Havocs are ready to defend power should a flank come in. They're going to set up a bit further forward though. TheCrydd does have enough for tier 2. It does start that upgrade now. CSM and Grenade Launch Heretics going to try and do what they can in range to try and poke down some of these units. Chaos Sorcerer also on the field. No upgrades for him at the moment. The Aspiring Champion Heretics will need to make their way towards the mid side to try and jump into this fight as well. Chaos also going to get caught out there by the Crippling Poison. Grenade Barrage is going to miss there. Anticipating Termagants would come forward, but they do not. Grenade Barrage may have been better saved against the melee army here, where these Havocs doing a nice job of tying up these Homogons. Warriors need to be careful. They're also going to get suppressed as well. But there is a flank coming in. The Homogons are going to tie up these Havocs. It's going to allow these Homogons to break suppression, and these Warriors are going to jump in as well. Havocs may go down in this very first engagement here. Incredibly low. Homogons are going to be able to finish the squad off, and it's going to be a big loss there for TheCrydd. Chaos Sorcerer quite low, but the Homogons are a bit too far away there to try and chase. And instead we will see another Power Bash. Homogons going to get straight onto those generators, and Warriors going to go in for the VP instead. Tyrant Guard for oLev. TheCrydd doesn't really have much of an answer to Tyrant Guard when it does pop onto the field. As he is taken up to tier 2 though, could potentially see the Mark of Zeech upgrade for these CSM. Does give him Inferno damage, making him very effective against super heavy infantry. Will be very effective against these Warriors as well. It will overall just be a massive range damage beast. CSM though going to get jumped on. Do see a salvo though from these grenade launchers. Do need to be careful as the grenades do a small amount of friendly fire damage, but generally CSM don't mind the grenades as much as these homagons do. Heretics trying to fight that Ravener, but the Ravener is also equipped with the Crippling Talon. Does slow units down on each attack, with the exception of when you're retreating away. Does give the Ravener some great melee damage. I believe does splash damage as well. That doesn't do splash damage, but does 55 melee damage, so quite a bit. Does also have the Hardening Carapace as well, giving him some extra health, making them even tankier and even harder to kill. There's going to be a Chaos Dreadnought as the very first purchase for the Crydd. Dreadnought should be quite effective if he can keep it alive. Does have 2 Heretics for some support. Chaos Sorcerer also has the ability to warp it out should it get too far in. Likely to see the Mark of Khorne upgrade come in for it as well. Tyrant Guard though should be able to do a decent job at trying to tie up the Dreadnought where possible. Warrior Brood also with the Adrenal Gland upgrade, giving them heavy melee damage, so Dreadnought will need to be careful if left in its default form, whereas if it does have the Mark of Khorne upgrade, it does get that 40% melee resistance, allowing it to stand up a bit better should the Tyrant Guard or these Warrior Brood get too close to it. Crydd though, lacking the power to get the upgrade, does need 30 power for that. No other upgrades that I can see at the moment. CSM though, still left in their vanilla form, should be okay. Tyrant Guard getting a little bit caught out there, will take a little bit of damage. Tyrant Guard can always be healed up by a shield wall formation, but ideally you want to try and save that for a bit later. Already losing 20% of its HP, is going to get away in time. Do see it, Cutlery Tower being placed down, allowing it to get a bit of extra movement speed. Rippers have also been called in. Rippers do slow vehicles down with each attack, so you don't want to let them get too close to the Dreadnought. Unless of course there's Mark of Khorne variant, which can handle Rippers much better. Brood Tower going to get torn down by these grenade launcher heretics. It's actually going to be a Venom Brood coming out onto the field. Dreadnought doing a great job picking off some models here. Also can splash damage, doing quite a lot of damage. With Dreadnought didn't actually get another salvo there, would have been able to pick off a couple of extra models. The Ravener is currently burrowed and undetected at the moment. Is going to get the jump onto these grenade launcher heretics. And he's going to force him into a retreat. Does actually gain 1 model there. Into burrow. Once again, the Aspiring Champion Heretics are on the other side of the map by the looks of it here, so might need to get them into the fight just to detect when his Ravener is going. But oLev looking like he's going ready for a group push there. Tyrant Guard and Warriors are streaming up this left-hand side. Dreadnought will need to be very careful here. If it gets warped in by the Sorcerer, it's going to end up towards oLev's base and will easily get killed. Rippers are trying to get close enough for some attacks. Is going to get slowed down here. Great Barrage is going to come in. The Dreadnought is going to remain fairly safe there. But these Homagons have been bashing power throughout the entire duration of the fight, so oLev able to secure even more generators, going to keep Crydd into tier 2 for as long as possible this game. Meanwhile, does actually have enough resources to start taking up to tier 3 himself. 274 VPs, 365. The Crydd is a little bit behind in VPs, but not too far behind. Warriors going to be forced off the default water cannon, not dealing the most damage in the game. Can potentially be worth getting that Mark of Khorne upgrade. Some nice Doom Bolts though go down onto these Termagants. We'll bring them down to just 3 models, and Sorcerer will gain some XP from that. We do actually have the Robes of Torment upgrade coming in for the Sorcerer. It does provide him with that additional tankiness, does also allow him to lock melee units, or lock any unit down in place really. But used more as a kind of like a melee counter, we'll be able to lock Rippers and Homagons in place, keeping the Dreadnought and ranged units safe from them. Does not work on the Tyrant Guard, however the Tyrant Guard is too tanky and is also considered a vehicle. The Crydd though is slowly expanding on the map in comparison to earlier where we saw him very huddled, close to his power. We do see him moving out on the map a bit more. He's actually able to fight back against oLev quite a bit and is able to secure himself a decent chunk of the map right now. Second Tyrant Guard coming in for oLev. A second Tyrant Guard might be a bit difficult though for the Crydd to handle. doesn't really have too much of an answer for the first one at the moment, and won't have much of an answer when the second one does hit the field. There is no Mark of Tzeentch upgrade for these CSM as of yet. We do have the Eternal War upgrade come in though, which does provide them with a 20% boost in damage. Have the Aspiring Champion along with the Mark of Tzeentch upgrade will allow them to really shine in this game. There's Ravner scouting things out. The Aspiring Champion Heretics are close by, so we'll need to be careful of being detected. TheCrydd is going to infiltrate his units there with the Heretic Warship. And Ravner Alpha has actually got the strength of Sinew. Does give him an incredible amount of speed. Doombolts are going to go, and Doombolts in this particular fight should be focused against the Warriors and Venom Brood. Does do plasma damage, making it more effective, but Rippers and Tyrant Guard gets surrounded that Dreadnought. The Dreadnought cannot be walked out as the Sorcerer is also in the same position as it. Dreadnought is going to fall down. That Sorcerer is also quite vulnerable there, going to get caught out by the double Tyrant Guard. It's going to fall in this engagement as well. Warriors jumping on top of the CSM. One model does fall, a second model is potentially going to go down. Gets knocked over, and Tyrant Guards are picking a pass at it. The Heretics are forced into a retreat, and the melee superiority here from oLev is going to be a bit too strong. TheCrydd is going to try and take up to tier 3. Does have another Dreadnought, or showing a Dreadnought on the field, but nope, that is just a false animation. I thought he had a second Dreadnought out on the field. With the tier 3 upgrade coming in, and with a lack of a full generator farm, well, actually, has got 2 generators. Tier 3 is going to be a bit of a hard choice to try and make work in this game, with oLev going for such heavy tier 2 and having a massive army in comparison. 83 population to 35. It's going to be very difficult to try and make that tier 3 work in this game. Rippers are going to come in once again, are going to easily get torn down though. The Ravner Alpha has been detected, should pop up in a second though. Will knock it across these Heretics. And TheCrydd is in risk of being locked into base here, does finish the tier 3 upgrade. Could potentially get some Terminators. These Homogons are taking their time to try and finish this generator farm, so if he does get enough power, could potentially get some Terminators, or alternatively could get a Predator. If the Predator is kept well supported and out of range of the Venom Brood, it might be able to work, but Tyrant Guards might be able to chase it all the way to base and may even be aggressive enough to try and kill it while in base. TheCrydd though is going to start pushing out on the map as oLev does regroup in the center and does look to tear down this generator farm instead. May even capture it for himself, feeling confident with his map control. 2 Tyrant Guards have now exited their shield wall formation, are healthy and ready for another fight. oLev going to be taking up to tier 3 himself, does have plenty of power. We do actually have a Terminator call in instead. Terminators with their Storm Bolters do an incredible amount of damage, do also have the Demoralize passive as well. When they kill units, does reduce damage of opponents' units. You do need to kill a model for that, so you come in with their Power Fists. They are going to do okay against the Tyrant Guard, but still not the best equipped for it. Can also be equipped with the Lightning Claw upgrade. Lightning Claw upgrade could actually dominate in this game against these Tyrant Guards and against these Warriors. These Terminators are taking a lot of damage there, are going to be forced to use their teleport already. We need to sit in base if they want to heal back up, but Tyrant Guards are just going to chase. Terminators are going back in for another fight with the Aspiring Champion Heretics here, but it's not going to be enough to win this engagement. The 2 Tyrant Guards are going to be a bit too much for them to handle. Lightning Claw upgrade could be really good here, but the Lightning Claw upgrade is quite expensive, and TheCrydd losing that generator farm to oLev, going to be unable to afford it. GG is going to get called, and oLev is going to win this series 2-1 here. And we'll be adding another win there. I believe he's already got a couple of wins at the moment, so he's going to be doing quite well in his particular group. With that, the series is over, and I'll be casting some more games shortly. Be sure to follow or subscribe if you did enjoy this content, and also be sure to check out that 1v1 tournament on the 30th of March as mentioned at the start of the cast. I'll add a link to the description. Thank you guys for watching.